If you didn't know, I decided to read all of the books in the New York Times Top 100 Books of the 21st Century, and today we're going to take a look at Say Nothing, A True Story of Murder and Memory in Northern Ireland by Patrick Radden Keefe. I have to start off by saying I'm not a huge nonfiction girl, but this book blew me out of the water. So this is really thinking about the Troubles, so the period from the late 60s through the 90s of conflict in Northern Ireland. The conflict also draws lines between those loyalists and Republicans based on religion. So the Protestants are those who are loyal to the UK and Britain. And what's documented here is a very clear discrimination, segregation of the Catholic faith, of the Catholic believing Irish people by the power of the United Kingdom, by the policing bodies of the British Army, etc. In response to that over-policing, the unfair and unjust treatment, the IRA is formed. So this novel explores really the secondary phase of the IRA. So there are the official IRA, which is an older sect of the organization, whereas the provisional IRA, the provosts as they're called, really emerged in the 1970s, and this is the group that's followed and documented in this novel. Themes, there are so many themes to go over. I think a large overarching question that I found myself thinking of is that whenever there are conflicts or wars or secular divisions of any kind, people always find a way to justify some of the horrible and inhumane treatment of others. And so some of the justifications here were in support of a unified Ireland. So we can set off car bombs, we can disappear people, we can justify the killing of innocent civilians if at the end of the day we reach that ultimate goal. In addition to how do you justify extremism and violence, another really big theme here is how do you recover after? How does a community recover? And how do you hold people accountable? So who is culpable? Who is actually guilty? How do you start to begin conversations around reparations or healing of any kind? Unfortunately, I think that's a question that the author doesn't answer and that the world hasn't really answered, because we can see in Northern Ireland today those lines around secular, the Catholics and the Protestants are still very much divided. Students are still very much segregated in schools. History still has not answered that question, and so it left me reeling. I have to give this novel a 10. There's nothing better.